Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 22nd. Right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Got British Columbia, Washington, Oregon here. Check out our little low pressure center. Still spinning, still dropping a little bit of light precip. Should be wrapping up by this afternoon and evening. However, you can see the cutoff low off the coast of California. But our next weather maker here, the big pattern changes across western Alaska, Bering Sea. Big polar lobe is going to take a swing at the Pacific Northwest, ushering in a much colder air mass and the big pattern change we've been talking about for the last few days. Taking a look at the mid-level water vapor loop with the Doppler radar overlay, you can see that light precipitation just kind of continuing out there, but it should be wrapping up as we go on into tonight. You see the cutoff low to the southwest. So the snow returns Sunday, Wednesday. Missoula National Weather Service talking about the pattern change. Big snowfall for the mountains incoming here and all the way down to the valley floors on Monday. Big wind gusts across the higher terrain as well. And this goes for much of the Pacific Northwest. More on that here in a moment. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, click on the link down below. It's got a lightning detection system, stores all the data for you in the cloud. Great smartphone app. Highly recommend it. Click on the link down below for 10% off. GFS, hot off the presses on the left. Sea level pressure map versus 850 millibars, streamlines, and temperature anomalies. So let's put this into motion. You can see some of the ridging we have in the meantime. Polar lobe swings through to the north, and that's going to kick off the high wind warnings are across some of the Rocky Mountains of Montana and some gusty winds up into Alberta and eastern BC as well as that low pressure system swings through here. That one moves away, and then we get the next polar lobe here that's going to be moving down into British Columbia, and you can see the powerful low pressure center there right on the Alberta BC border. Strong pressure gradient, strong westerly winds, onshore flow, big mountain snow, gusty winds all over the place, and look at that Arctic air sagging down across central BC, coming off the continent and wrapping quickly back around into Washington and Oregon. Convergent zone activity, lots of cold air aloft. You're going to have some snow pellet showers out there and probably have maybe a lightning strike or two with some of this convergent zone activity. And of course, you've heard of the lake effect snow machine. This is ocean effect snow machine. This cold air comes out over the Pacific Ocean, picks up that moisture and slams it back into the big mountain ranges out here, just producing huge amounts of snowfall. Now looking at 850 millibars, 5,000 feet on the left versus 925 millibars on the right. This is the European model here. So this is not the anomalies. It's just the actual temperature at 5,000 feet. Scroll through here and there goes that polar lobe through northern Canada, which picks up the winds across the Rockies a bit here as we go through Friday into Saturday. And then you can see that colder air sag down across British Columbia. And it starts to spill off the coastline here towards southeast Alaska. And you can kind of see it there. That northeast flow starts to get back out over the Pacific Ocean and it streams down the coastline into western Washington, into BC. Look at these northerlies pushing down across British Columbia. So you can see the Arctic air getting into place all the way through southern BC. By the time we go on to the day Monday, possible convergent zone activity, maybe some lower elevation snowfall to be had. We'll be watching those details closely. And of course, the huge mountain snows incoming here. And if we scroll off into the future a little bit more, you'll notice that we start to, close that one out, and you'll notice we start to change things up a little bit and we start to turn more to a southwest flow. It's not going to be that warm here for much of the Pacific Northwest. We could be building some mountain snow as we go through the end of the week in towards next weekend as well. So looks like we're going to remain active, but let's look at the GFS, hot off the presses, 80-meter wind speed. I want to take a closer look at things here. There's the cutoff low, and you can see we start this onshore flow as we go through the day Saturday. Some of those stronger winds across the Rockies that I mentioned with that polar lobe swinging through northern Canada. And then we start to bring the Arctic air down into British Columbia. Look at the northerly winds up here across central BC coming off the continent back into Washington. And if we go into Monday, you'll see the winds in the Puget Sound out of the south. But watch as they go to 21Z. Look at that big wind shift. It goes from south to north. Convergent zone activity, lightning potential, lower elevation snowfall, snow pellets, big mountain snows. Lots of cold air pouring off of BC back into western Oregon. The coastal range could be getting some measurable snowfall as well. And of course, those snow pellet showers, small hail and thunderstorm activity cannot be ruled out. And then as we scroll off into the future here, you can see that southwest flow and maybe some stronger systems out over the Pacific Ocean, pumping some moisture back into the mountains, hopefully continuing to build the snowpack across the higher terrain into next weekend. If we look at lightning flash density potential on the European as yesterday afternoon, we're going to scroll out here into Monday. So if we go to Monday afternoon and evening, check it out. You can see where that convergent zone activity is going to be around the area here, maybe for eastern Washington, a lightning strike or two as well. So that would be kind of interesting. Maybe a snow pellet shower and some thunder at the same time. Can't be ruled out. Now, taking a look at the total snow in inches in the National Blend of Models, and this is what many people want to know about, is what kind of snow we're going to get across the higher terrain. Well, by the time you get into Sunday night and Monday morning, it's going to be piling up across BC, the Washington Cascades, all the way down the Oregon Cascades. This will be Monday afternoon, and you can see the coastal range of Oregon, the Olympic Mountains getting some nice amounts also. And again, you can't rule out some lighter amounts into the lower elevations. We're not seeing a huge signal right now, but we got to watch it closely. Some of this convergence zone activity could drop some local higher amounts. We're not expecting it to stick around for long, but it would be noteworthy. And as we scroll on into the mid and later portion of the week, check out the snowfall just building up through next weekend. What an impressive snowpack builder that could be. Could it possibly happen during an El Nino year? Well, it's looking more and more likely, and you can see some big amounts across even some of the coastal range of Oregon out here, and maybe some snow for places like Spokane and the Rocky Mountains and nice shot Blue Mountains as well, and some of the higher terrain of eastern Oregon. Now, looking at Whistler, you can see you're looking, 6 to 8 inches here, 15-20 centimeters there, so not a bad shot. You don't deal with quite the same moisture here across some portions of BC as you do for Washington and Oregon in these setups a lot of time, but this should be nice, fluffy, cold snow there, 1,300 meters up in the mountains there as well. Look at Mount Baker ski area. Check it out. 15, 17 inches in a 24-hour period with gusty winds. Classic winter storm stuff here. And this would be on the day Sunday, probably Sunday morning. That snow would be already flying across Mount Baker. You can see Stevens Pass, big mounts incoming here as well. 15 inches on the ensemble mean and the control run, also with some very gusty winds out there. You might be nearing blizzard conditions at times. Stevens Pass, look at that, up over 40 miles per hour. So if you sustain this for more than 3 hours with some lower visibility due to that heavy snowfall, you could get some blizzard conditions across some portions of the BC, Washington, or Oregon Cascades. Here's Mount Hood. You can see some nice amounts showing up, generally 10, 11 inches in a 24-hour period. Not bad. Crater Lake, a little bit less the further south you go, but still not a bad shot of snow there. 6,200 feet, Crater Lake National Park. Here's Whidbey Island. We're going to have a nice surge down the Strait of Juan de Fuca here as we go through the afternoon Sunday as well. These westerlies are going to kick up, potentially up towards 50 miles per hour. We'll watch this to see if it changes here over the next couple of days. So this is some of the higher terrain out like in the Natchez area, maybe off to west of Yakima here, off to the east of Mount Rainier. And you can see some of the big wind gusts across the higher terrain. If you're off in the backcountry, be prepared for that, especially on exposed ridges and some of the higher mountain tops. Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, just kind of blustery conditions. We're not looking at any major windstorm for any of the coastal areas or for Seattle or Portland or Vancouver here right now. Mainly down the Strait of Juan de Fuca and the higher terrain in eastern Washington, places like that are going to get those gusty west winds. So Spokane, look at that, maybe 41 miles per hour in the latest control run, and not bad. Some of the ensemble mean is up towards 40 miles per hour. But if we look at the European yesterday afternoon, accumulated positive snow depth change in inches. I've got it all the way out to the 10-day period here, but you can see the nice amounts. So this is actual snow that would be piled up in the Cascades. That would be so beneficial. British Columbia is somewhere around 20% of their usual snowfall across the higher terrain. A lot of Washington is below average as well. Oregon is doing better, but still many places below average. So this would be extremely beneficial across much of the region. A lot of North Idaho not doing too well right now also. So they'll definitely would be welcoming this snowfall. 6 to 10 day through March 2nd. No surprise, below average there on the west coast and below average to the 8 to 14 day, which goes out to March 6th. And here's the 3 to 7 day hazard outlook. You can see the heavy snow, which would include British Columbia as well. So they kind of target the Washington and Oregon Cascades, and they do show that risk for some of the high winds across the higher terrain especially. This is looking at the NWCC home here. So you're looking at percentage of average snow water equivalent, and you can see Washington not doing too hot here. Oregon doing a bit better, but some of North Idaho and some of Montana not doing well at all. And British Columbia probably the worst of the lot also. So definitely beneficial snow incoming, which is usually the case anyway. I mean, you're rarely ever going to turn down some nice heavy mountain snowfall unless it's causing major avalanche conditions or something like that. But yeah, definitely looking forward to this snow building here over the next week or so. So the snow in British Columbia looks like it's at 18% of normal, at least according to the British Columbia snow report here. So not doing too hot. There are some open trails out there, but some of them aren't doing too well. But anyway, yeah, we'll break this down again tomorrow. We're going to start to get to the point where the high resolution models get into range here. So we'll be able to kind of try to pinpoint where some of this convergence zone activity is setting up, how much convective available potential energy do we have the chance of sealing a seeing a snow pellet shower or some snow or some thunder snow at the same time. Who knows? But it's going to be wild across the mountains, really gaining confidence in huge snowfalls around the mountainous areas here. So we'll continue to break this down day by day. We'll check for that lowland snow potential over the next few days. We'll have a more clear signal, of course, as we go off into the future here. But really, the cold air and the frontal system will be driving down the area on the day Sunday. And then that cold air is going to be really pouring down to the area on Monday and Tuesday. BC is going to kind of be in the ice box, at least for a time here. And we'll check in future model runs to see how long that's going to hang out. But anyway, it looks like an active period through the extended as well, all the way in through next weekend. There is some windstorm potential with that also. So we'll look into that in the future runs also. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.